I'm missing you so much. You turn on my imagination. Though you're far away and in my fantasy.
Olá pessoal, começando mais um programa do canal Nós e Universo. Tudo bem com vocês? Hoje é chegado o grande dia. Finalmente nós vamos exibir para vocês a entrevista que o nosso amigo Guilherme Carneiro Liberato, o famoso Guigui, fez com a doutora Cláudia. Antes a gente obviamente tem algumas considerações a fazer e eu vou passar inclusive o microfone para o Guilherme para ele falar um pouquinho como foi a entrevista com a doutora. Gui, como é que foi o papo com a doutora Cláudia?
Boa tarde, pessoal. Então, a doutora Cláudia, eu achei ela muito simpática, respondeu as perguntas como a gente esperava, deu respostas bem longas, ela explicou bem o que a gente queria. E eu acho que vocês vão gostar, pessoal. O material ficou bem bacana, espero que vocês gostem. Só ressaltando uma coisa, devido à entrevista ter sido feita via internet, via o Google Hangouts, a doutora está lá nos Estados Unidos, nós estamos aqui. Então teve trechos da entrevista, né, Beto, que ficaram meio inaudíveis, por conta da inconsistência do sinal da internet e não deu para ouvir muito bem. Então a gente tentou fazer o máximo para que a legenda ficasse condizente com o que ela estava falando, né? E a legenda não foi feita por nós demos apenas alguns reparos ali, foi feita por outra pessoa que nos ajudou também, mas tentamos deixar ali o melhor possível para vocês conseguirem entender o que ela está falando. É isso aí, pessoal.
Tá feito então. Antes de vocês assistirem a entrevista, é importante eu colocar 2 ou 3 pontos que a doutora Cláudia faz questão de explicar, e é isso que difere. E, na verdade, foram exatamente esses temas que fizeram com que ela se tornasse persona non grata no país em que ela dava aulas, lá na África do Sul, né? E fez com que ela migrasse efetivamente para os Estados Unidos, justamente fugindo desse tipo de perseguição. A doutora Cláudia é PhD em Física e ela defende veementemente uma tese muito diferente sobre a relação da gravidade entre os corpos celestes. Ela tem uma visão completamente diferente do tradicional e ela foi reprimida muitas vezes por conta disso. Agora, aquela informação relativa ao famoso Nibiru, vocês vão ver que ela não, exatamente como nós, não está preocupada em chamar o Nibiru de Nibiru, ou de planeta X, ou de nono planeta, ou qualquer coisa que seja. Até porque, na opinião dela, esse planeta gigantesco que vem se aproximando do nosso sistema solar, ele vem acompanhado de outros pequenos planetas e, na verdade, se configura na forma de um sistema. Se é o sistema Nibiru, como ela mesma acaba até sugerindo, ou se tem algum outro nome, isso pouco importa. O que eu acho que vocês têm que prestar atenção, realmente focar na entrevista da doutora, é o fato de que ela também confirma e dá mais detalhes sobre a intromissão, a entrada de um sistema planetário dentro do nosso. Ou seja, todas as interferências que nós previmos em relação ao Nibiru, entre aspas, né, que o Nibiru provocaria com a sua entrada no sistema solar, estão mais do que confirmadas e acrescidas ainda desses detalhes relacionados a esses planetas que acompanham o planeta maior que a gente tem chamado de Nibiru. Tá joia? Espero que vocês realmente aproveitem e a gente, obviamente, se fala aí num próximo programa. Segue com a entrevista aí. Até já!
And I will make 7 questions to you, okay? All the questions was made and written by Luis Roberto, right? So my English isn't good, okay? So forgive me about that.
I speak a little bit of Portuguese, so...
What did you prefer, English or Portuguese?
No, I definitely prefer English because my technical Portuguese is terrible.
Okay. So, ready? Let's start it?
Yes.
Okay. Lead you to believe in the existence of Nibiru.
First of all, I started out by observing the sky, and this was in 2016, and I saw that the sky looked pink. On the horizon, the clouds sometimes were pink right above my head, even though it was sunset. And the clouds looked pink on the horizon on the opposite side that the sun was setting. And I knew it was impossible for the sun to do that. Now, so that started my investigation in what was going on in the solar system. And I soon found evidence that there were objects in the solar system. They were in the sun's corona. I still have and still write about these objects. I have many images, spacecraft observing the sun. They are the sources of these images. So they cannot just be CGI images. These are real images, real objects in the sun's corona. So I started my research by simply observing these objects, what they were doing to the sun, how the interaction was going, what was occurring. I saw they didn't obey gravitational law like normal objects. I saw that they were absorbing energy from the sun. But you mentioned Nibiru, and I never actually referred to these objects as Nibiru. I call them Planet X, the Planet X system. I don't refer to Nibiru because, as far as I know, I don't have any evidence that tells me that Nibiru is here. As far as I know, Nibiru was something that the ancients talked about and occurred in the solar system many years ago. And they did say that it would return. But I have no evidence that can tell me that it is the same object, that it is the same object that has returned to the solar system. As far as I know, this system is new. It's never been here before. So when the ancients referred to it as the planet of the crossing, as if that's what Nibiru means, as if that's what occurs in the solar system when there are huge changes. Now, this system is causing huge changes. It's basically destroying the solar system, but slowly. It could be that the ancients were referring to the cataclysmic events that always occur because the solar system is invaded from time to time. Nibiru tells us that the solar system is not a very placid place that is never interrupted by anything entering it and causing cataclysmic events. It tells us that these cataclysmic events have occurred in the past and are likely to occur in the future. And it's only the Planet X system and what I've observed from the interactions and what's occurring with the sun and what's occurring with the earth as well that tells me that what we are going through is a cataclysmic event. It's slowly developing, but it's cataclysmic nevertheless. It will end all life on this planet.
Okay. So, question number 2. What are the real implications of approaching stars in our solar system?
Approaching stars?
Yeah.
Okay, so these objects that are found in the sun's corona and whizzing about the inner solar system, because they're often ejected by the sun, a lot of them are stars. Not all of them. The largest ones are stars. They're just old stars. They're dead stars. But there are smaller ones, many, many small ones amongst them that are basically old planets. So we have stars and planets in the system, it seems. And I've also discovered that there's not much difference between stars and planets. They both have dense cores. They both produce light in their atmosphere. The Earth produces light in its atmosphere through lightning. Just not as intense as the sun's production of light, because the sun's atmosphere is in plasma arc mode. It's intense, whilst the Earth produces just a little bit of lightning. Now, there is a possibility, there is some evidence, and Carol Blackstar is the one that's been reporting on this, that there is another star that is coming in towards perihelion at the moment. So coming in towards the inner solar system, he calls it the black star. Other people call it Nemesis. This star would then be the sun's twin. In other words, the solar system would be a binary star system, and the star would belong with the sun as the other part of this binary. So there is a strong possibility that this star is close. It doesn't. That's why tarot calls it black star. And I believe that is likely to be because the stellar course got to it first, or it's not as large as the sun, not as energetic, and it lost its ability to emit light first. So that there is some evidence that that's a strong possibility that is occurring. Now, the Planet X system, these are basically, I'm just writing an article where I was researching one particular brown dwarf. And I came to the same conclusion I did initially, and that is that brown dwarfs and stellar cores are one and the same. In other words, brown dwarfs are old stars. And in the beginning, I called these objects brown dwarfs because when I was a student, I was taught astrophysics and stellar evolution, where brown dwarfs were old stars. They were between the white dwarf and the black dwarf. And they were stars that had lost the ability to emit visible light. They could only now emit infrared light. But that theory has been scrubbed off the internet. In fact, when I started researching this, I could still find on the internet some evidence of this theory still there. And soon after I started writing articles on this, it all disappeared. So I've seen evidence that the internet has been scrubbed of this information. And they only scrub this sort of information for a good reason, and that is because they're hiding what is going on in the solar system, and that is the presence of these objects, the planet system.
Okay. Number 3. If there is a lineament between Earth, Nibiru, and the Sun, what would be the consequence for our planet?
Okay, so our planet is already in trouble, let's put it that way. Mm-hmm. Because of the system. Well, I call it Planet X, I guess you could call it anything you like. You could call it a Nibiru system. I don't think it's the same Nibiru that was here before, but it is, you could think of it as the system of the crossing, because it falls in great changes in the solar system. Now, what happens is it's not just the alignment that causes a problem. What actually causes the problem is that these are low-energy objects. And when low-energy objects interact with high-energy objects, they absorb energy. Just like when you have a hot and a cold, when they make contact, energy flows from the hot to the cold. Mm-hmm. When these objects go into the sun's corona, or they come so close to Earth that the two atmospheres touch, energy flows from the Earth towards this object. And this energy is associated to gravity. And that's what I've discovered. Low energy objects have low gravity. High energy objects have high gravity. Gravity has to do with energy in the particles of the matter. It's not constant. It seems to be constant in the solar system, like Kepler and Newton thought it was, because at the time there were no objects outside the solar system that could show them otherwise. But with the stellar cores here, we can see that gravity is not constant. The gravitational constant is not constant. It's dependent on energy. So when the Earth's energy drops, because these objects are absorbing energy from it, the Earth's gravity, ability to hold on to its own matter drops. And what occurs then is that the Earth starts to expand. And when the Earth expands, you have a solid object expanding. What happens is, as it expands, it's going to fissure. This is what's happening to the Earth. That's why there are fissures all over the planet's fissuring, and it's breaking up. And that leads to huge volcanic activity, which keeps on increasing. Because as the energy decreases, the problem gets worse and worse and worse. It never will get any better as long as these objects are here and absorbing energy from the Earth.
Okay. Number 4. In your opinion, why is the global scientific community so much opposed to the spread of information on this subject?
Okay, so that's one of the articles I have just written. And the thing is, the powers that be, the shadow government, they are doing absolutely everything in their power and have been doing it for many years, probably since the 1960s or even before then, to stop the Earth's population from knowing what is going on. And that means they have to keep it from most of the scientific community. And they have done several things in order to do this. One of them is they've put in place the peer review system, which stops research which would lead to the truth being known about these objects and a lot of other theories that would lead down to an understanding of what these objects are and what they do. In other words, that stellar cores are low-energy stars. That gravity is associated with energy. That electric fields is what leads to stars emitting light. All of this is taboo amongst the scientific community. When you start researching these topics, several things happen. First of all, if you don't have a huge reputation, you are blocked, if you're an astronomer, from having time at the telescopes. This happened with Alton Arp, who falsified the Big Bang Theory. And as you know, all astronomers still believe in the Big Bang Theory and are writing their research as if it is the truth. Whilst Alton Arp clearly showed with hundreds of images, and he was an extremely good astronomer, that there's no way the Big Bang model can stand as a theory. So he was stopped from doing any research, and he was blocked from publishing his results, to the point that he had to write his own books. He's dead now, but he's written everything up in his book, Seeing Red, which was one of the first books I found, even before I knew about planet existence. And I started realizing that physics had been hijacked, that it wasn't on a truthful path anymore, that theories like this were being blocked from mainstream physics. But other things happen. For example, James McKinney, and I actually have his book here. His book has been very helpful to me. He wrote a book called Planet X, Comets and Earth Changes. And he also realized that what was happening in the solar system to do with comets was that they were not dirty snowballs. They were like asteroids. And the sun, the solar system was an electrical, had an electrical structure. It was like a capacitor. And he wrote about it. And what happened was, in spite of being an extremely good teacher and doing extremely good research, he was fired. And he was never allowed back into physics. So, and then there was me. I started writing about these objects. And what happened was, my life at the university where I worked was made impossible. I was heading a course which I had been teaching for many years, and I've worked on it for many years. And my students loved me, and I always did so well. This course was taken away from me. My textbook was removed. I was given another textbook which I hated, and I was forced to use it until I could not go on I was called into the office. I was given reason to believe that I might be fired because I was writing these articles in my own time. And so my life was made miserable to the point that I decided I had to leave my position at the university. And this is what happens when you start researching these objects. Pressure is placed on you from above. So my head of school most likely got told by someone else outside of the university that he had to stop me from the course I was on. I cannot know that for sure, but I know that he changed, and it always been very nice to me, and he suddenly became very hard to deal with, let's put it that way. Now, other things have happened to other astronomers. I'm sure you know that Robert Harrington died of a very fast-growing cancer. In fact, impossibly fast-growing, because he was deemed to be healthy just a few months back. So I believe that he was killed. And he was not the only one. There is Dr. Eugene Schumacher, a planetary scientist. And his wife is an astronomer. And he was the one who discovered Schumacher-Levy 9, the comet that broke up into several pieces and impacted Jupiter. And he knew from the energy of those impacts that comet could not be dirty snowballs. Dirty snowballs would not have created such huge energetic impacts. And because of that, and because he had a lot of prestige already in his own field, they could not just fire him or force him out, so they killed him. Mm-hmm. And they probably tried to kill his wife as well, but he survived the accident. So this is, and I think that there have been other astronomers. I think there was a whole plane of astronomers that were going to have a meeting in the Alps, and the plane came down and all the astronomers died. I don't think that was an accident either. So the astronomers and the physicists know that this kind of information, if they want to remain active in research, the peer review system blocks you from publishing these reports anyway. But if they want to remain healthy, they research things that are 20 light years away, not inside the solar system, like these brown dwarfs or stellar that are here and are affecting us.
Wow. Now, number 5. That's a longer question, okay?
Okay.
What do you think about the fact that the USA, Chinese, and Russian governments are only concerned about the impact of celestial fragments on Earth's surface and not on the approach of Nibiru? Understand?
Yes. The thing is, they know what's here. Everybody who is in government and the scientists that have gag orders. For example, they may be working for NASA. They may be working for the government organizations that are giving information to these government officials. They know what's going on. It's impossible that they do not know. Mm-hmm. In fact, they have to know because I can usually find lots of evidence that they are manipulating the data and images so that whatever filters through can be said to be an anomaly. Of course, I simply use logic and show that it cannot possibly have been an anomaly. But so there is only a little bit of the data that's filtering through. They must have a full knowledge of what's going on. And the stellar core matter is entering the solar system all the time. The dust and asteroid-sized pieces are entering the atmosphere all the time. They try to cover it up sometimes with rocket launches, but it is coming in. It's causing the pink clouds in the sky, because these objects, through the energy absorption process, cause cloud formation, and these clouds to emit these strange colors of light: pink, orange, yellow, dirty yellow, sometimes peach color. So that's where these are luminescent clouds, clouds that emit light. And that's because the stellar core matter is entering. Now, if you actually have a stellar core, or even a planet or a comet that is large, they will not impact the surface of other planets. And the reason for that is because how gravity works. And gravity, as I've discovered through observing these objects, causes all objects that have a core in them and that is generating energy to have positively charged surfaces. So when two planets come very close together, they don't detect their own surfaces until the atmospheres touch. When the atmospheres touch, and at that time there will be a huge electrical interaction, the two atmospheres come together, become one. The potentials equalize in the atmospheres. But then they detect each other's positive surfaces. And two positives repel, so they'll move apart. So this is basically why they're not worried about collision between planets, because they know this. What causes the problem is the stellar core dust that's continuously entering and absorbing energy. And stellar cores, they will even come and touch the Earth's atmosphere, even come, the smaller ones, they're very small moon-sized stellar cores that come into the Earth's atmosphere. But they will never impact as clouds and then move away because they are repelled. As they absorb energy and matter from the Earth, they will produce a positive charge on their surface. This is just simply the way gravity works, which I've explained in my books. I've written a book specifically explaining my theory on gravity and how it comes from the stellar core observations that I've made. So that means that actual objects, moons, planets, they will eventually repel each other. But the asteroids, the debris, and these objects produce a lot of debris. They share their outer layers of material. So the inner solar system is now full of debris from these objects, which is why there's so much debris entering the atmosphere. And of course, that is a problem. And as this debris gains energy, it becomes more reactive to gravity. So more and more of it will be pulled in by Earth's gravity. So asteroid impact, larger and larger ones, become more big.
Okay. Question 6. Do you believe that the 90th planet discovered by astronomers Rodney Gomez, Mike Brown, and Konstantin Baitigin already interferes in the solar system in some way, and on Earth?
All right, so they're always discovering a planet 9 or looking for it. In fact, I think when Dr. Robert Harrington, wrote about Planet X, he was basically doing the same thing. I mean, NASA published his paper because at the time they thought of Planet X as a diversion. In other words, they already knew the stellar cores were here. They knew about these star objects that were coming in. And they thought that by allowing Robert Harrington to look at the edge of the solar system for Planet X, it was a diversion. Everybody was looking at the Kuiper Belt. That's where Planet 9 is. That's why we can then explain whatever's happening with Neptune, why there are perturbations. There must be something small out there. So they have not changed their policy. They are still looking at the Kuiper Belt for anything that's not quite right in the solar system. And of course they find objects because there are lots of objects there. But these objects are not affecting our planet. They are not affecting the inner solar system. They are not affecting the sun. So it's very safe research for them. Because as long as the Earth's population doesn't realize that the Earth is slowly being destroyed by the system, everything's fine.
Okay. The last one. Why do you leave the USA today? Do you intend to return to your homeland?
No, I don't. Since I came here, I've married an American. So I have made a life here in the United States. To tell you the truth, I don't think any university would ever hire me as a professor anymore. Simply because they would be blocked from doing it. They would be pressured.
Yes.
So I don't think there is. I can return to my country anyway because I'm in South Africa. I'm actually Portuguese. I was born in Mozambique, of Portuguese parents. So I have a Portuguese passport and a South African passport. But I lived in South Africa for many years. All my training as a physicist was done in South Africa. And I love living in South Africa. It's a beautiful country. But nowadays, South Africa is going through such upheaval. There's such racial tension. And basically, the black majority seems to be out to kill all the whites. And so it's not a good place to live for a white person at the moment.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah. So you're born in Mozambique, you say?
I was born in Mozambique, yes. A Portuguese colony.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
You know.
Yeah. Good luck, good night, bye-bye, thank you very much.
Good night, bye.
Bye-bye, thank you very much.
I'm missing you so much. You turn on my imagination. Though you're far away, and in my fantasy you crave my